This is Tom, your host for the Hidden Truths channel. How's everybody doing this evening? I hope you're doing well. Tonight we're going to discuss on our live stream, Americans are at the end of their rope. What you got to do is go to social media and see that a lot of Americans are really upset. So especially the one going to be a good one. Anyway, I appreciate all the subscribers I got, all the views I'm getting, all the comments I'm getting. It's really making the channel grow. YouTube's having a little bit of a problem with it, but I really don't care. But we're getting the truth out there. Like I say, I'm finally somebody that's going to say this shit. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm beholden to nobody for anything. So I can speak my mind. I can speak my piece. And things are really messed up. So, we live in a crazy world these days. You never know what's going to go. I tell you what, like I say, when you got Hillary Clinton sitting there saying, Donald Trump finally starting to understand where we're coming from, basically saying her Democrats, where they're coming from and stuff. Anybody seen that video? Donald Trump's basically coming around the way he's supposed to start thinking. When you got Hillary Clinton, that's well, you can't say she's okay with what Trump's thinking because she's saying that Trump's finally thinking what she's thinking. We're in trouble, people. We're in trouble. So, we're all going to pay the price for this one way or the other. Whether we act, we're going to pay a price. And if we don't act, we're going to pay a bigger price. And our children will pay our price, and our grandchildren and generations on. Okay? I don't plan on leaving this country or world in a worse condition it was than when I inherited it. Anyway, let's get busy on today's subject. Americans at the end of their rope. I used to think that I was the only crazy person on YouTube, right? Or social media. There are lots of people that are upset with the situation, that can't afford to live. I always say, when you're raising your children, when you first get married and you start creating a family, start creating a business, start creating a life, those are your years in the trenches. Okay, for us it was hard, but for these generations it's even harder. And one thing I want to say before all these people get on me about, I'm not a baby boomer, but I'm a Gen X, that we don't understand, okay? Yes, I do. Okay, I have children that are struggling, working harder and making more money than me. I understand. You got a Gen Xer that wants to do something about it so your children don't have to struggle like you do. So we need to come together instead of being mad at us old people for you think we're having it easy. People learn a lot of lessons in life. One of the lessons I learned is don't be in debt. It makes life a lot easier and a lot more free. But watching these videos, especially of working people, okay, just below middle class or lower middle class, those type of people, okay, the ones who got to compete with jobs with these 50 million foreign workers we got in this country. Crazy time. What I'm hearing about electric bills too. Let me get one thing straight, okay? I don't have any debt. I have my cell phone bill in my car insurance, okay? My automobile insurance. That's what I got for my bills. So, but I can, I've been in that position. I just got lucky and decided to get debt free and never go into debt again. But in today's world, it's hard. It's hard. I was in debt when I was younger. But, when you're getting these electric bills, okay? What I'm hearing about electric bills, can it be true? I mean, my electric bill in the summertime is about, what I use is about $15 a month. Yeah, I use about $15 a month in electricity. But the bill is still almost $80 because it's $64 just to have the service here. And my landlord pays that. I just got to pay for the usage. So my electric bill's $15 a month. But I'm hearing stories about people that have electric bills in the hundreds, even thousands of dollars. This one lady was saying, they were pretty well to do, but she was complaining about the electric bills. She lived in a 2,500 square foot house, 5 bedroom, 3 bath. Well, that's big, but still, over $1,000 electric bill. And when they had all their kids at home raising their kids, their highest bill was almost to $700, and now it's just them two, and over $1,000 a month. What are they doing? Throwing a party every night? Everybody knows who's raised kids. Teenagers will sit there and raise your electric bill, no problem. I can't even imagine what these people are experiencing with these electric bills. I don't use much electricity. Okay, I stay outside a lot, and light bulbs, and I don't have a lot of bells and whistles in my house to use up electricity. But this is getting unreal. This is one thing people are upset about. They can't make ends meet. They've got to decide what to buy groceries, what bills to pay, what bills to hold off. I'm sick of seeing my kids struggle. Those videos today that I saw, the younger generation, people my age, just the same thing my kids are going through, trying to figure out how they're going to make it month to month. This is the way they want you to live, though, the higher ups, because their wealth, the elites, their wealth is based on your debt. You understand? Based on your debt. Because they figure debt as assets now. Crazy time, isn't it? Crazy time. But yeah, people are starting to lose it. Once you've lost everything, you lose it. And we all know what not having enough money in a growing family can cause divorces and stuff like that. And then that just creates more problems down the road with children. Anyway, hey, if you like the content of this channel, appreciate you if you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe and the bell notification. Help this channel grow, because YouTube don't like hearing what I have to say. I never knew the freedom of speech came with community guidelines. I don't remember seeing that part in the First Amendment, but maybe it's there, okay? Us normal people can't see a lot in those amendments that take them away from us that these politicians can see. So I appreciate the support of the channel, okay? By the way, you got families out there. They can't even buy a house anymore. The American dream. What's the American dream? To work your ass off. I know what it's like to sit there and work 70 to 100-hour weeks. Sit there. Some people in this country have no idea. You put your 40 hours in, and if you put in over that, you're going to get paid dearly, okay? You get your breaks. You don't have to work 12 hours straight without a break. None of that stuff. You have it easy, but some of us out here that are the hard laborers in this country, we really put in the hours. Not that we don't mind it. A lot of us really like the work, okay? But a man should be able to make, or a woman should be able to make a decent living on it and not have to struggle. If you're working 80 hours a week, basically 2 jobs, you shouldn't have to struggle in this country. But we do. Yeah, what happened to the days where in the 50s and 60s and 70s, early 70s, when a man could go to work, raise his family, put his kids through college, buy a house, have a car, go on vacations, all on a 40-hour week. But see, back then, your government wasn't your biggest expense like it is now. But yeah, why? And then you had somebody at home raising the kids. The kids weren't all messed up. You broke up the family, and boy, we really did a good job at breaking up the United States by breaking up the family unit, didn't we? It's what you live with. People have had it. You work all that time, and you can't even enjoy your kids. Like when a man used to work a 40-hour week, Used to come home, supper was on the table, and then they have family time after supper. Play cards, sit in front of the TV for a while if they had to communicate. You know, Dads, I've been in that where I'm just so tired, you don't even want to eat. You just want to sit there and crawl in bed and go to sleep. But at least I wasn't struggling like these people are. In our government, you see any politician that's having to live the lean life? No, they're all, we get into Congress and we're only worth a few $100,000, and 4 years later, we're worth millions more and have our own penthouse and condos and stuff like that. Yeah, that's how that works. I mean, American people are done suffering. It's going to come to the point. Like I say, when we lose everything, we're going to lose it. When they figure, I can't suffer any more worse by trying to put an end to this than I can suffer having to deal with it. We get to that tipping point. Now, personally, my government's already crossed my line in the sand a long time ago. I'm just waiting for everybody to catch up. All right? And if things get really Looney Tunes out there, where I got to escape from society, that's where I'll be. Away from society. Totally independent, and I can sit up on top of the mountain and watch the human race just destroy itself. But anyway, then you hear these people, they're so worked up. What do we do? What can we do? What can we do? Well, it's easy, people. The Declaration of Independence says it all. The government is causing all this pain in your life. It's not your neighbor. It's government policies that are allowing your neighbor to make your life miserable. Okay? There's been a long train of abuses that our government has done to us with one objective: to completely enslave us. Okay? And after this long train of abuses, it's our right, our duty, and as a Marine, I take that word, duty, very seriously, to throw off such government and install new guards for our future security. And then they gave us the Second Amendment, people. And old Biden up there, well, you can't beat us with your AR-15s against our F-15s, Hellfire missiles, and nuclear weapons. Well, let me tell you something, JoJo. You politician retards in Washington, D.C. don't operate all that equipment. Oh, and then another thing, all us vets out here that are in the civilian world, we can run all the equipment. And since we paid for it all, I guess we're just basically confiscating it, aren't we? Since it's not paid for anyway. Obviously, $38 trillion in debt is not paid for. That's what we need to do, people. We need to start organizing. If you're upset and you got guys at work that are upset, start organizing. We don't need to have a politician show up or somebody show up to have a community hall meeting. The community needs to be upset about something, then you have a community meeting and find out where everybody's at. Start organizing. If you've been in the military, start organizing your fire team, to your squad, to your platoon, to your company, to your battalion, from the ground up, people. This ain't going to be one where the rich people are going to sit there and declare independence, okay? It's not like it was in the Revolutionary War where the rich people were hurting because they had most of the money. They were paying most of the taxes. Now the rich or elite get in trouble. They just print more money. Not going to be like Bill Gates. It's going to be like John Hancock and sign his name real big. We need to invoke the Declaration of Independence again, people. We have the right, the authority, the duty. They have charged us. This is an order. All you vets out there, this is an order from the Founding Fathers. How can you balk that? An order from the Founding Fathers. Basically from George Washington himself. The best president this country has ever had. hands down. But anyway, it's stressful. Okay, we need to do something, people. It's time for the well-regulated militia to organize. It's time for organize, not privately, but publicly. Publicly. Millions of guys organizing every day. The feds will never be able, they ain't gonna be able to do nothing. We're already the well-trained militia. Well-regulated and trained militia. We need to sit there and fulfill our oath to the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, none of us thought when we got out we'd be dealing with this. When I got out in 1994, I never thought I'd be dealing with this 31 years later. But guess what? We're here. Our government's hijacked, corrupt, and beyond fixing. We voted, we've done everything, okay? We did the ballot box, the jury box, and now it's time for the cartridge box. Frederick Douglass. And like I say, we're not wanting to do this, we're being forced to do this. I mean, all you alpha males out there, you're getting punched in the face. When you just stand up for yourself. Especially by beta males. Little pussy beta males are doing this. It's in our genes to stand up to beta males and push them down to the level they need to be at. You know, a beta male can always become an alpha male. They just got to sit there and decide to be a man. But anyway, we need to do something. This is beyond control now. We have the military in the streets. I still can't believe there's mega people that are happy with military in the streets. By the way, everybody, I can't see the chat. YouTube's not letting me see the chat. That's why if you think I'm ignoring it, I'm not. YouTube's not letting me see the chat. YouTube plays a lot of games with my channel. They don't let people hit the like button. They don't let people comment. They don't let people subscribe. Yeah. Why? I'm just a little nobody. Little old guy out here, out in the middle of Nebraska, out in farmland and pasture land, making a video. And they sit there and got to mess with me because the truth is the dangerous thing. Not me. What I say is dangerous, okay? Just like, in combat, when you got a runner. As long as they got breath in their lungs, they still got the message. And that's the dangerous part. Not them, but the message. And this is what we're dealing with, people. But I tell you what, those videos I saw today, I never seen the younger generation so upset. I mean, I heard that millennials are more conservative than Gen Xers. I find that hard to believe, but boy, they must really woke up. Okay? I don't. If you sit there and work your whole life, you should have a retirement like the baby boomers and the Gen Xers. No shit. But your government's taking it from you. How do you think they're paying that debt off with your retirement? Charge you Social Security. One thing with Social Security, I think when you turn 60, since we're forced, even though it was voluntary at first and all this stuff, now that we're forced to do it, I think we should, when you turn 65, you should either have a monthly payment or a payoff amount where they got to pay you off all of it. And you don't have to deal with the damn government no more. Anyway, but yeah, people are starting to lose it, everybody. Do you think the other side, when they have their lunatics on the other side and they think they're all big and bad, what do you think's going to happen when us patriots and conservatives and vets have finally had enough? And we're organized, okay? They have no idea what's going to be coming their way. I mean, frankly, our military compared to when I was in, I'm not trying to take nothing away from the military, but you were never pushed like we were. I'll say it that way. Never disciplined like we were. Heck, you guys don't even have to polish your boots. You got suede boots. Don't have to press your camis. That's part of your discipline, everybody. Anyway, when you're in garrison, you look good. When you're out in the field, you have your field camis for the field. Then you have your garrison camis. So you look good. Same with your boots and stuff. You have your stuff you go out and play with. And then you have your stuff that you strut around the base and look good in. That's a good way of putting it. But anyway, yeah, I wonder what the straw is that's going to break the camel's back. The thing is, we need a leader on our side, and we ain't got a leader. Nobody's leading us. It sure the hell ain't anybody that's in D.C. I think it's going to be some guy that comes out of the fields or some humble guy that, is forced to fulfill his destiny. Some man we can trust, or woman that we can trust. True to their word. A man like George Washington. God, I can't believe people sit there and try to say Trump's the greatest president ever. Have you ever studied George Washington? They wanted to make him king, and he said no. He didn't even want to run a second term because he was dealing with ill health, and he didn't want to die in the office and become basically not a martyr, but something he didn't want to be looked at as a god. Now, do you think if Donald Trump, they came up to him and said, hey, we'll make you king tomorrow, do you want to be king? You think he would say no? You think anybody suffered like George Washington did during the Revolutionary War when he wrote that he would never even wish his situation on his worst enemy? That means the people he was fighting, the situation he was in, especially after 1776 and getting their ass kicked up in New York. Yeah, which one of our strong, manly politicians would have been able to do that? Hold a continental army together that's in rags to sit there and defeat the most powerful nation on the planet at the time. Yep, I see all our politicians. I don't see a single one in D.C. that's capable of that. They're capable of stealing your money. They're capable of protecting your buddies. They're capable of just making sure you know that you are a servant to the government as the government is not a servant to you. When did all that change? Oh, I bet you I know when that started changing. When we started changing our constitutional republic into a democracy. That's when all that shit changed. I love to hear a politician when they're running for office, not even the word democracy ever come out of their goddamn mouth. We are a constitutional republic. We got some democratic principles, but we're a constitutional republic. Okay? And the reason we have these problems is because our Congress people are trying to turn, our politicians are trying to turn our constitutional republic into a democracy where majority rules. Everybody want that? Tell me everything you think agrees with the majority, right? Yep. We already have basically a democracy in this country. That's why everybody's so pissed. Because depending on who's president, depends on either if you're a wolf or a sheep for 4 years. See, the constitutional republic's not like that. The government's the sheep. We're the wolves, making sure they stay in line. People don't understand this government form of government absolutely no more. They don't teach civics class. I mean, when they think illegals got constitutional rights. Really, the Constitution covers everybody in the world, right? I mean, I did a live stream last night, and I was talking about World War II, And when the Russians were in Berlin, at the end of World War II, when they were taking over Berlin, I had some idiot comment on here. Oh, this guy thinks Berlin's in Russia. Just proving he don't know a goddamn thing. He don't know nothing. Probably didn't even know World War II happened. Didn't know who was against or nothing. Yeah, the Russians were in Berlin in 1945 until what? 1989 when the Berlin Wall fell. Yeah, wow. Wow. I mean, you sit there and ask these younger generation who we won our independence from. Not the videos I saw. We do have smart ones. But I tell you what, you younger generation, millennials, me personally, I got to work to take care of, let's say, 5 families. They rely on me working because they don't want to work. When it comes your time, you can have 15 families relying on your paycheck, okay? This is how crazy it's getting. Like I say, it's easy what we need to do. It's written down on a piece of paper, the Declaration of Independence. And then you got this First Amendment where we're allowed to tell the government how we're feeling. They don't want to listen. So we got the Second Amendment so we can show them how we feel. With a high velocity exchange of ideas. And remember, they're bringing this on. No American citizen has to feel guilty or don't feel like they have the right or the duty to throw off this government. Okay? You're not crazy. It's part of being an American. We don't take this shit from our government. The thing is, when we get our government back, we're $38 trillion in debt. The war is just going to be one part of a stage of hard times for a while. But all I know is if it takes 15 years to solve the problem, future generations for a long time will know the ins and outs of being bad. And if our politicians and did treason, or let's say a social media exec conspired with politicians to try to steal our country from us, that's treason. And it don't matter how much money you have or what status you had in the old world, you'll be punished. Okay, and if the punishment is your life, oh well, then you shouldn't have done what you did. All I know is we got a very few people that are pissing off and taking advantage of everybody else. How are they doing this? How? First thing you got to ask yourself when you're in your car wondering how you're going to make ends meet, how did I get into this mess? What kind of control do people have over me to get me into this mess? You got to accept some personal responsibility. Okay, as a vet, I accept personal responsibility that we won't do nothing yet to stop this. The biggest threat to this country is the inaction of us vets and patriots to sit there and throw off this government. And maybe, like you say, when the one day when our leader comes and we can sit there and I would love to see 3 or 4 million armed men not go into DC, but surround DC. Just like the Patriots did it in Boston after Lexington Concord. I got that wrong. For some reason, I talked about that last time, and I was thinking Philadelphia. No. After Lexington Concord, they went and all the Patriots and rebels went and surrounded Boston and made the British have to leave Boston. Okay? They showed them that the British had to turn tail and run. I don't want the government to do that. I don't want the government to escape. But I would love to see a show of force like that. Nonviolent, totally armed. Everybody is armed. 4 million armed men circle circle Washington, D.C. What are the feds going to do? Like I say, our military's not even that big, people. And then you're going to talk about trained vets, 4 million trained armed vets, grunts, ground pounders surrounding D.C. That would be a message. Maybe if we did that peacefully, D.C. would all of a sudden wake the hell up. Would they? They maybe would start fearing the people. And if you do it in a protest, it's just an expression. It's part of the First Amendment. We're just protesting. We're not using our guns. We're not threatening where we're going to use them. We're just going to come to this protest and hang around Washington, D.C. for about a week, around the outskirts of it, armed. You know, do some drilling, some training, some organizing, that type of thing. Now I'll probably get comments to the FBI. This guy needs to be arrested. For what? For what? I'm not telling them to burn down a city. I'm not telling them to get crazy. I'm just saying we need to go outside to the outskirts of D.C., 4 million of us, and start doing some training. And as part of the well-regulated militia, being a vet, I think I have every right to call up the well-regulated militia. You know what our government would do if all of a sudden they had 30 million armed vets and patriots all within a week, all over the United States? The FBI would leave its little, well, we could turn their headquarters into a museum. And they could become statues in that fucking place, okay? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, tough talkers. We're so tough. Tough. Beta males. Even you, Pete Hegseth, even with your shirt off, you're a beta male. The only people allowed in D.C. are beta males. No alpha males allowed. Because the alpha male would get in there and shake shit up. Anyway, yeah, calling them all beta males, big time. Anyway, if you like the content here, I appreciate if you'd hit the thumbs up, the subscribe, and the bell notification. Like I say, I'm sorry about the chat. For some reason, YouTube decided that I don't get to see the chat tonight. They do that every once in a while. Yeah, they have a serious issue with my channel. I don't know why. I just can't shut up. And then the more they push on me to try to get me to stop, the more I just come out harder. I don't know how to give up. I'm a Terminator, everybody. And that's one thing these social media platforms need to figure out. But see, my other channel, I had a channel before. I had a couple channels, but got canceled. Put underneath the YouTube jail. Erase the email. Google got rid of the email and everything. Okay? They didn't like what I had to say. But I'm making sure that I'm careful. I'm using more tact this time so I get the message out. And the message is getting out. I know I'm not the only one upset about the situation. And I'm not even the one struggling, but me having to see Americans struggle as our politicians just completely destroy everything, their future. I mean, at the end of World War II, when Germany was losing its ass, and Hitler came out with the order, I can't remember what it was called, but he wanted all the infrastructure in Germany destroyed. All of it. And there are plenty of Nazis that were just, wrecking tracks, blowing up factories and stuff. But Albert Speer, the Minister of Armaments, who was in charge of making sure this happened, was doing whatever he could to stop it from happening. Even he knew. And that's what that if you destroy everything, Germans don't have a future. And this is what we got our government doing. They're destroying everything. I mean, our kids are our future. But the thing is, our kids don't have a future. So that means our country, or us, we don't have a future. I mean, how do you sit there in the right mind? How does a college? puts a kid 6 figures in debt, promising them the world when they get out of college, and they get nothing, and they're living at home with a debt they're going to be paying for the rest of their life. That is crazy time. But the colleges have all this money for sports stadiums and stuff like that, and then they get taxpayer funded money too. What? If you look at it, colleges, that's what they mainly get, because all these college loans are federal loans, taxpayer loans. That's why colleges want everybody to go to college, so they can sit there and milk the system more and more. And now they want to pay athletes, college athletes. Yeah, that would turn out real good. Anyway, the thing is, a college is supposed to be educating kids, not getting them rich. Don't you agree with that? So anyway, but yeah, back to the subject. Americans losing it, okay? Haven't decided what bills to pay. Like I said, I went on about the electric bills. The electric bills have got to be astronomical. I don't deal with it. So I try to live a very humble and low-key life. And I don't need a lot of money. And I don't bring a lot of attention to myself. But it's a life not everybody can live. And you should be able to pursue your happiness. It's just a good life shouldn't be out of somebody living it because they can't afford it. It's this thing. We are sure paying a lot for being a free country, right? We sure pay a lot of taxes to be a free country. Anybody feel free? A free country, we get our whole paycheck and then write a check to the government. In a free country. We don't have no free country no more. Anyway. So all you younger generations that are struggling, I feel for you. Like I said, I see my kids doing. I see, my grandson's I got a few grandkids, but my one oldest grandson has to go to school with a litter box in his room in Minnesota because you got kids there that think they're furries. Just another thing where we need to act. We're between a rock and a hard place, people. What's it going to be like 2 years from now? I can't even imagine what electric bills are going to be then, even if we have electric. And we need to take our country back for another reason, for saving the world. You know how it's like the worst saying is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help? You know what other countries deal with? We're from the U.S., we're here to help. And all of a sudden their country turns to shit. And their people are suffering and stuff like that. Suffering. In America, we don't sit there and worry about, I don't know, what Syria's doing. But in Syria, they worry about what the United States is doing. Doesn't sound very right to me. Doesn't make me feel good inside knowing that our politicians are going around the world using me in my name to sit there and spread democracy. Our founding fathers wanted them to come here, not to export our values, but people who want to live our values and our cultures to come here. Do you understand immigration now? All you people that don't understand immigration, come up here and get some money from the American worker. No. People want to be Americans, become part of America, become part of our culture. That was their whole dream, to become Americans. What's it now? How can we go up to America and get what we want out of it? We're going to sit there and rob every little penny we can from it and then leave it. Is that what immigration used to be like? No. What we can do to make our country better, because their children were going to be living here and stuff. Anyway, the whole thing's messed up. But yeah, it's hard to live, and what can we do? Organize people. I guarantee if you're working with people, and you're the younger generation, rearing kids and stuff, dealing with your spouse, okay? You have more than just you at your job site. or work area that think like this. Like I say, share these videos with them. I'm trying to organize, but we got to organize small and locally first. Do it. And one day maybe we'll get up to that 4 million man picnic, armed picnic around DC. Oh, that'd be great to see. Heck, the news would, if everybody was armed, the news wouldn't even show up. We need to send DC a peaceful message, a peaceful, legal message. Okay? That's what we need to do. It needs to be controlled, not rowdy, and it can't turn into a January 6th shit. But with everybody being armed, I don't see that happening. We're going to show that being armed makes you safer than being unarmed so you can become a victim. Anyway, but eventually the evil will be destroyed in this country. You know, I say they're living on Bauer time just because they made Americans so weak and soft over I'll say soft over the last 30 years for sure. It's having a hard time with people understanding, but there are people in the younger generations that have had it. It was good to see. I was good to see that I'm not the only one on YouTube raising my voice sometimes, maybe cursing sometimes. But I'm telling you, you younger generation, Gen X and baby boomers are not your enemy. We want you to live in a free world too. But we need your help. Instead of hating us, work with us. Okay? We're not against you. I mean, you had parents crying out loud. You say, us parents, Gen X's, are getting sick and tired of seeing our children struggle and our grandchildren having to go to school with litter boxes in their room. That's beyond insanity. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. YouTube I haven't seen one comment. They won't let me sit there and see any comments. So, oh great. This second, everybody. YouTube. Anyway, I'll get out of here. YouTube is playing a game and a half. Everybody, let me tell you something. Everybody needs to start a social media channel. Everybody needs to sit there and give their opinion on how they feel about all this shit. 200 million videos to DC in 1 week with the same message might change their mind. If not, 3 or 4 million armed men around DC will do it. We need to organize, people. Organize. Because the other side is digging in their heels. Anyway, they're stealing our country. They're stealing our fortunes. They're stealing our children's future. They're stealing our children. It's funny. Maduro offers $50 million for the E-list, and all of a sudden he's got our military in the waters around his country. Really? I'm not speculating anything, but sure is a coincidence in my eyes. So I appreciate everybody being here. You found me. I'm gonna keep chugging along, YouTube. There's nothing you're gonna do to stop me. Nothing. I've had enough as a Marine. And now that I've seen other normal people have had enough, that was a boost for me today. I'm not the only person that doesn't like the way the country's going. But the thing is, you're upset. We need to channel all this energy we have and focus it into something positive to change the situation, to make it better. Not become radical and erratic like the left does and damage our cause, okay? Focus your energy to solve the problem. Not let your energy go crazy and create a worse problem. Okay? Anyway, start organizing, people. Start organizing. Come to this channel, leave me messages. Whatever it takes. Yeah, there's going to be consequences for the people that are the tip of the spear. And since I can't get nobody else on YouTube to talk like this, I guess I never wanted to be the tip of the spear, but I'm part of the tip of the spear now. All right? I'm willing to pay those consequences. As a Marine, not a problem. I don't fear men, especially beta males. So, anyway, lead me, follow me, or get the fuck out of my way, no matter what I am coming through. All right? And some beta male in a cubicle on his keyboard, crunch, 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 crunch. That guy hurt my feelings. Nobody else can hear this. Isn't going to stop me. Because these people, I can't wait till they're driving home one day, riding their e-bike or in their Prius, and all of a sudden hell breaks loose on the street they're in. And they got to sit there and look at the stuff that they've been censoring on their social media right in front of them. Bad time to learn the truth when it's right in front of you. Okay? Anyway, that's what we deal with these days, you know. Somebody like me needs to be silenced. Somebody like a little old lady that went to January 6th needs to be arrested and thrown in the stockade, basically, on bread and water, solitary confinement. I mean, who does that? Who does that? Democrats have no conscience. And Republicans, frankly, have no conscience, okay? Like I say, I don't care if Trump walked on water. When he wants to sit there and say the E-list don't exist, he's just as demonic as the devil. You cover for the devil's little minions, you're part of their club. But it's all going to come out. I hope everybody, you know, it's not only the fight that we got to do, but it's the truth that's going to come out after it. Like the truth after World War II of what the Nazis did, and the German people had to face it, okay? Even though their leaders did it, it was a reflection on them, especially the ones that took it hook, line, and sinker, every propaganda thing. And that's what America's going to have to go through. Be ready for the truth. A lot of people, I don't think, are going to realize how evil people can be, especially when we compare it to the Holocaust and find out what's going on nowadays is far worse. Crazy times, people, crazy times. Crazy times. But yeah, eventually we have to do something. It's time to stop bitching, focus your energy, organize, look at the goal of getting our country back, and just organize, get your group together, and everything will come together. Hopefully God will send us our leader here one of these days. Anyway, we'll see. But that's all I got for this evening. Okay, YouTube, I didn't even get to see none of my chat. Not one chat. It's not in front of me. They wouldn't let me see it. Let me see something here once. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they keep changing settings on me and stuff. I tell you what, YouTube, Germans are the reason why Ukraine wants my people gone in Donbass. You're talking why Ukraine wants my people gone. I don't quite understand. Keep this guy away from all sharp objects and guns. Hey, Al, have a nice weekend. Well, you know what? The Marine Corps thought I was pretty good at them, so I'm going to continue on with that. I love it when people think I'm nuts. Really? I mean, you mean a Marine is nuts? I never would have guessed. What was your first clue? America is run by Jews. I'm not going to get into that. Well, I'll just say that. I say Netanyahu's got the list, and he's using it to blackmail better than Epstein did, and you can see the strings that puppeteer has on the puppets, the people on the list, and it's crazy. You can see the strings now. You a veteran as well, so was my brother in our country. Yeah, I was a United States Marine. I am a United States Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. Got to see a lot of the bad part of the world, a lot of the world, and in the military, you see a lot of bad parts of it. So, yeah, I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran that we need to do something. What country you from, Pigeon? What was the MOS? I had several MOSs. I had ground side MOSs, and I had electronic associated MOSs. I had a very interesting time in the service, you might say. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I was not a one MOS guy, all right? The last MOS I was in only had 52 people in it. Okay? Need I say more? Anyway, getting back on subject. I was going to get out of here. But anyway, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. But yeah, it's time to act. Us vets, our oath isn't over. We now know as vets and we being in the military, that oath is till the day we die, especially when freedom is something you always got to protect, and when you can't protect it, you got to fight for it. Now we're at that point where we got to fight for it. All right? We let this go on for too long to where our people are getting shot down in the streets. I mean, today was I believe the anniversary of the Ruby Ridge incident, you know, where the ATF and FBI went and shot that guy's wife and his daughter because his shotgun was a little too short. Shall not be infringed. I wonder what that means, ATF and FBI. All these people need to be held accountable. All of them. Jarheads are ignoring the Constitution, being deployed as police. We do what we're told. And when you're in the mix, if you were a vet or understand, when you get out and you start thinking, because in the military, everything's black and white. Well, in civilian world, you start thinking gray. They're going to follow orders because if they don't follow orders, lawful orders. Anyway, I don't like to, the thing is, you're right. Just like we were used in the 80s under Reagan, but I'm not going to get into that. Like I say, there's a reason why we're hated around the world. And in the 80s, I saw the hate forming, going into all these other countries and doing what the hell we wanted because we were the United States, not caring about their sovereignty or nothing like that. And being part of it, I thought it was okay. We were over there fighting to make sure, doing our job over there overseas to make sure we didn't have to deal with here in this country one day. That's what they always told us. Why are we over here? So you don't have to deal with the United States. Well, it's here in the United States now. So now I got to deal with it again. But now I have the moral high ground. It's just the enemies that we fought overseas are now the enemies in charge of our government. It's sad Colin Powell got away with everything, all the crime. That whole first Iraq war, weapons, or George Bush, weapons of mass destruction. Let's not forget Saddam Hussein got killed because of our lie. After the first Gulf War, he was doing everything he was supposed to, just like Gaddafi. After Reagan went and bombed his damn house, Gaddafi decided, hey, They're going to kill me. I'll shape up. And they had to go. I'm not saying these were good people, but, I'd say they're better than the people we got in charge now. All lie. How many people, military, got killed in the second Gulf War because of the lies? And these are people we're supposed to. They have all this great intelligence. They know everything. They're so smart. They can't lie because they just know everything. Heck, the CIA knows the last time every terrorist took a shit. They did it to Gaddafi, and they were going to do it to Assad. Why are U.S. troops in the northern part of Syria? I don't know. That's a good question. We need to bring them back home. The world would have a lot less problems if the U.S. would get the hell out of everything. I mean, who's the biggest arms deal in the world? The U.S. president. Making sure the wars keep going. Why are we there? I don't know. Yeah, but they would do the same to Assad. So you tell me what I know what Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi had in common. What did they have in common? Why did they have to go? Because they were talking about trading their oil in something other than dollars. That's why they had to go. Those two had to go. Now, Syria, I'm not sure about that. Maybe that's all biblical and Damascus has to fall and all that other stuff. But yeah. And now the U.S. is protecting the lists that don't exist with ships off Venezuela, just like we protect the petrodollar. Crazy times. Like I say, Americans need to take our country back to save the world. You know how much sigh of relief the whole world would take if the United States straightened us that, if we took our country back? Then all of a sudden England would do the same thing. The British would do the same thing. The French people would take their country back. The Germans would take their country back. The Spanish would take their country back. Italians. Once it starts, the dominoes will not stop falling. This will be a worldwide cleansing. And there's a lot of people all over the world, tyrants that need to water the tree of liberty with their blood. But like I say, we need to do it in a controlled fashion. Focus your energy on positive so we don't turn to the French Revolution where we're just cutting heads off everybody. People are going to be angry when the truth comes out. I mean, if you're a parent and your kid was kidnapped, disappeared, and you find out 20 years ago they were, well, not nice things were done to them, probably going to be a little upset. People got to be prepared for the truth they're going to hear. I mean, if the guilty ones are trying to keep it from us, it's got to be really bad, okay? Like I say, the average person isn't rich enough or powerful enough to commit the crimes that these people are committing. Americans are much stronger than the French. I have my disagreements with a few Yanks, but I have met some great ones. You are one of them. I appreciate it. You know, the one thing, I met the British Royal Marines. I can't remember where we were at. And it was fun training with them. But, two places that I want to go in the world as a Marine were England and Germany. And that's one places Marines don't really go. So I never got to see them. Boy, if I could see the battlefields during World War I and World War II battlefields, stuff like that, it'd be great. So, but, you guys got a lot of problems over there in England. I mean, you guys can't even own a knife anymore. I mean, a butcher has to have special permission or whatever to have a meat cleaver. You guys can't even own a squirt gun. It is bad. They're grabbing kids. Yeah. Like I say, Trump sits there and says there's no list. I've been on for an hour now. How many kids worldwide kids worldwide have been, in this hour, have been thrown into a van and disappeared to horrible things to happen to them. How many? I will never let up for that on that. If that would have ever happened to one of my kids or grandkids, I would turn over hell to make the people pay. And I wouldn't stop. My brother was training for a few Syrian army troops. It was pretty fun. He was stationed there after Russia went to Syria. I just don't understand why we got to have all this conflict. Why do two big superpowers, the U.S. and the Russia, have to be in Syria? Or all the why? It's a little know-nothing country. What the hell are they doing? Why don't other countries just start, I don't know, Russia and China and North Korea get together and decide, hey, we're going to occupy this part of the United States because we feel like it. Anyway, crazy world. Well, I'm going to take off for the night. Looks like YouTube is shutting me down. I appreciate everybody being here, though. You know, I'm not going to stop. If these beta males that are running all the industry and social media and the government think I'm going to be afraid of them, I mean, alpha and sigma males are not afraid of beta males. It's against our nature, no matter how much money or what position they're in. Because when an alpha or sigma male stands face to face with a beta, the beta knows he's below him, no matter what position he holds or how much money they have. Okay? I've made a lot of rich people really upset, and they couldn't do a fucking thing about it. Anyway, everybody had a great evening. And tomorrow we'll see what the subject is. We never know what's coming, but trying to get that channel to grow. Hopefully I got closer to 1,000 subscribers tonight. But YouTube, boy, talk about some thin-skinned individuals. But anyway, everybody have a great night. This is Tom with Hidden Truths. I'm out of here.